Hello, my name's Mark. Welcome to Living La Dolce Vita.
Good afternoon everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Living La Dolce Vita, on a rather miserable rainy Saturday, the 11th of March. So, just going to show you what I've been up to. Okay, so you can see in front of you the floor that I'm going to put down. Now, a couple of thoughts on this. Now then, I was trying to, how was the best to describe this? Now, so normally what you would do, you obviously make sure the floor is perfectly clean and there's no lumps sticking up, bits of paint or plaster or anything on the floor. Then you need to square up the boards in relation to the walls, from what I can gather. Now, unfortunately, the walls in this room are not square. You know, I don't know if you look back on some of my films. This wall is running out from right to left. It's coming towards me, so this corner is slightly nearer to me than this corner, if that makes sense. So what I've had to do, and I got nowhere to cut the boards, so I can't follow the proper way of laying the floor down. So what I've done, I found the centre of the room, and then I've put a square on that centre line, made a right angle, and then that gives me the line across in relation to this line. So, because when I try to do off the wall, you come in, you can see it straight away that they're out of alignment. Now, it may look out of alignment at the moment because I haven't set the floor down properly. What I've had to do is measure each strip, if you will, like, and cut them and sort of dry fit them all the way down to here. Now the last one I've got to put the floor down properly first before I can do the last one, because obviously every time I close up a gap I'm gaining about 5 millimeters of space. I wouldn't recommend doing it this way, because obviously you're always in danger of damaging the joints, you know, and they're cut so fine that you know, a little chip on them and they won't line up properly. So I wouldn't recommend it, but I certainly wouldn't do this for a big room, but for such a small room, you know, I'm not too worried about it. Right, so next job is I'm going to lift all these back up, make sure this floor is nice and clean underneath, etc. Make sure I've got my 10mm spacers around the edges. Now when I was measuring, of course, you can't see them now, but I did have 10mm spacers on the ends, and it just so happens that the boards are 10mm thick, so I had a little off-cut piece which I cut up and used as the spacer all the way around. So now I've got to get the underlay down. Oh, sorry, lift all these up first, give it a good hoovering out, make sure it's not nice and clean. Get the underlay down and then start putting them back properly. I shall show you a little bit of it real time, and then I'll switch to time lapse, because otherwise it'll take too long. Okay, see you in a bit. So I didn't film it, but I don't know if you can see from there, undercutting the door frame a bit. It may not be sufficient yet, I don't know, but I just wanted to get the worst of it out, both sides, so that I'm not creating too much mess when I put the last piece down. There. So this is the underlay down. Doesn't quite go across, and I'm not going to cut a small piece just to fill it up, but that will be covered by the skirting board anyway. So I'll put a piece of tape just to hold these two ends together. So I'll start putting the floor down. So now I've already connected this piece up, so I don't really want to take it apart again because no, maybe two here. 10 mil. Now then. There, and there, which is the best way to do it. Right, now because I've already cut these to the right length, I'm just going to put the 10 mil spacer this side of the board, because I know that would be 10 mil already. Anyway, check that the joint hasn't been damaged. Looking good. Looking good. Let me put this right first. Just put it back in at an angle. Angle of the angle. Let's go in there. Make sure that's. Tell you what I will do. No spaces there. Okay. Just give me a few. I don't like the feel of that. Yeah. I think I shall put these ends on first. Not ideal, but I don't like the feel of that. Maybe. Right. Okay. So it was sitting up at the front edge, not wanting to go down, and I was reluctant to force it just in case it snaps off these, because it's only MDF at the end of the day. It snaps like a carrot, but it seems to have gone down okay. So yeah, with a bit of persuasion from a rubber mallet. Now then, I may just leave these spaces in situ. There's no point in me taking them out. No, hang on. No, I have to take them out because they expand. Of course they do. Silly me. I have to. So I shall now. My knees are killing me. So I shall now do the rest on time lapse, and you'll see me whiz through it in about 5 seconds. 10 hours in reality. Anyway, I'll see you at the end. Bye for now. Well, hello everybody and welcome back. So you will have seen me on a bit of time lapse there doing laying this floor. So that's it now, finally all done. Whew. I must admit it wasn't as plain sailing as I thought it would be, but I'll explain shortly. I'm hoping that this film isn't too long, but I think it's worth mentioning the pitfalls I came across, because it didn't seem to come up when I was doing my bit of research on YouTube. I'll explain shortly. Anyway, so excuse me. Where do we start? So, right, now then. So obviously when you're laying them down, put them in at a sort of an angle. I'm not quite, it doesn't say what degrees of angle, but it's pretty self-evident when you put it down. But it goes in and then you press it down, and then it tends to stick up in the air on the edge, and you think, is it sitting right? But you have to be confident in pushing it down and then hitting the joint edge, which, you know, if you laying this piece down, you hit it there. And what I discovered with this rubber hammer, as I'm hitting it down, I'm sort of pulling it in a backwards motion, and that's like this, and it seems to make it seat properly. So hopefully that's a handy little tip for anybody. And also, when you get an end like this, you put this edge in first. Obviously you line that up, and then it goes down into a groove and locks in. But like all these things, you don't want to be putting it down, lifting it up, putting it down, because eventually it overstresses the joint and may not get a nice tight fit after that. So you don't want to be making too many mistakes. Right, and for some reason I worked out the square meterage and it suggested 5 boxes, but I still got 1 box left. So I don't know. Take a box back and get a bit of money back, I suppose. Okay, so the next. Right. So the problem I had, I started under the window first, and I worked my way along. And as I said earlier, I cut them to length. I cut them all to length first. Simply because I wanted to make all the mess in one go, if that makes sense. Because I got nowhere else to cut the material, and it's too wet outside anyway. So I pre-cut it all, then of course made sure I hoovered up all the mess. Now, this is the issue I had when I got to this end around the door, and then of course I discovered, I thought, well, hang on a minute, I'm going to have a short piece, where is it, up that end, and a long piece this end. So I thought, well, how on earth was I going to get it under this door frame and, you know, fit it all in? Maybe I could have done it, but as it was the end of the day and my brain was tired, it was overtaxing me. So what I did, I took 2 rows out here and lifted the 1 row out at this end, and I basically cut a full piece to fit there around the door threshold, and obviously fitted that piece up here, and then I moved the whole lot up, slid it all up, which was a bit of a fiddle, but it went fairly easy. With the able help of my son Thomas, because, sorry about the camera work, because when it got to here, of course, the corner was sitting up, and he had to push it down for me to for it to go into the door frame. So that's lined up now. I'm not going to finish the threshold off just yet, because I'm not quite sure what's going on with the carpet, etc. Anything else I can say about the floor? Yeah. Knackered now. So anyway, next thing will be to put this. I'm going to put this piece of skirting board on, I may do that today now, and then that'll be me finished for the day, because the rest is a bit more involved. This is just a case of putting a few screws into the battens behind. I know I could stick it, but I'll just use screws and then fill the holes up. Anyway, it depends. That'll be in the next one. So that'll go down. Then I got to do the. Let me have a think. Then I may put that piece down as well. I'll have to stick that, I think. Yeah, I'll have to stick that. Then before I put this skirting board down, I want to do the architrave all the way around. I might actually emulsion the walls first, because it just makes it easier rather than trying to cut in with the architrave there. Although I don't know, I think it's half a dozen, 1/6 of the other. So there we are. Tell me what you think. If you think it's oh, that's right. Yes. Now I was getting conflicting suggestions. Well, not suggestions. Ways of laying the floor down. Some people said, "Oh, don't lay it uniformly like this," which is what I've done. You know, cut odd lengths so it's like a staggered pattern. But I thought, I don't know, it sounded like a lot of waste to me. So I thought, never mind. For this room, it's not something you're not going to see it. You know, by the time you put furniture in here, etc., you're not going to see any of it. I know it's a bit, it's obviously in line, but right. So I think I've mentioned everything I can think of, and I'll see you in the next one, when I shall be putting down the skirting boards, architrave, maybe painting. See how long it takes. I mean, it don't take long if it's on time lapse, of course. Now, that's what I mentioned. Now, when I put this polystyrene up, which is fine, of course there was a funny edge here, and of course it doesn't always line up. Nothing is straight. So what I did, I built up this corner with polyfiller all the way through, and then just sanded it back with a block, light sanding, because obviously this is only soft material. This edge I'm not worried, because the sill will go on that and you won't see it. So this has all been sanded back now. Nice clean edge, hopefully. That's been filled up there. I've sanded it down, so over with a final damp cloth or something like that, whatever. And then, yeah, I've got to clean up the window frame before I can paint that and get some emulsion down. Right. Okay, everybody, that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.